of it either, I don't fast ago, and where he could lose it as well in 2022. Just 6.2 of the 2022 Prosecco DOC UK round goes lights out. Scott Redding, not such a good start, trying now to recover. Around the outside goes Ikalekuona, battling in the mid-pack, not a good start. He goes with a drastic start. He's now been passed by Andrea Locatelli twice already this weekend. He's been headed into the first sector in third position, watching as his two main title rivals go toe-to-toe.
Young in front, Jonathan Ray in second position.
Finish straight. Alex Lowe's has now dug in and sits recovering from Andrea Locatelli. Built a bit of a buffer. Crucial for Alvaro Bautista to have leapfrogged Scott Redding into Compass. Opportunity for Ray to go all the way around the outside into the fog of the S's.
It's impossible to make a move. Trying to outbreak Toprak around the outside is going to be an easy move.
Of Rinaldi, how devastated the number 22 Kawasaki will be that he didn't get off to a good on the she can make the pass this time as they come down the Dunlop straight. On the brakes and deep on the brakes as ever. Ray sending one another time here. Ray tries for the cutback. Razgat Gioglu parks it on the apex and pulls. With a new fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 27.644. I think that tells you more about the way that Razgat with Ray and Razgat Gioglu. Twice already he's pulled alongside Toprak. Coming down to Razgat Gioglu is deep on the brakes and just about holds on. Bautista now is right with them and right bike. And he's broken clear from Michael Ruben Rinaldi. Now during this race two thus far, Alvaro Bautista
as well.
As Ray thinks about a move, eyes up a move into the old hairpin, not
able to make the move. He might have to make it into turn 4 at the old hairpin, carry the speed down the hill and just put in zones like the Foggy S's or down into the Melbourne Loop.
And Jonathan Ray riding all over. Almost touch once again. Think about to some extent is Alvaro Bautista behind them.
Yeah, the problem for Razgat Gioglu all the way down the hill. This is where Ray needs to be right on that
speed though to the genuine pace versus Razgat Gioglu. Toprak looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 this weekend. But on the evidence
personal best at pretty much a third distance.
Razgat Gioglu offline going into the Fogarty S's and in case they run one another off the line. Razgat Gioglu today, but remains for the moment at least in.
It's off camber. There's a lot of bumps through there. You see the bikes chatter through that section. So for Alvaro Bautista,
yes, it only takes one of them. Right there, man of the lead quartet's last lap around as they begin to hold one another up. Got 9 and 10. Still, it's Toprak who leads them.
But this battle is it's bringing Rinaldi.
Rinaldi and Lowe's joining in the party. 2.4 seconds now covering our lead sextet.
To be able to attack position and make the move on Ray.
Looks so the gap's static. The top 3 equidistant from one another. 4th place, man who's retimed. Now he's going to have a go down the hill and see if he can make it into the Melbourne Loop. Once again,
Melbourne Loop is a section where you can.
Jonathan Ray at times had to be so aggressive in 2021 when he was either defending the championship to get the better of.
Close that gap down on Toprak.
Disappointing appearance at his home round for Haslam.
Yeah, Toprak just out in front. His training leading the race, and that's the approach he takes to a World Superbike race. There, he's so strong, doesn't want to give up that position, even though Ray clearly looks like he's got a little bit more.
He's not going to allow him to.
Well, the thing for Ray is he's gotten through 2 or 3 times in Toprak right now. It's not about your outright speed. It's about making 3 laps where Toprak's being faster than the 2 riders chasing him. But
1.2 seconds. It had increased, but he's made a little bit of ground. Well, there's a couple of laps. Ray hasn't really done anything to interrupt the speed of it. It's mostly the passes from Jonathan Ray. Able to, I will do it again down the inside, but again,
a time relative to the normal line and be nice and fast through that section of the track. That's nice and early and just roll around that corner. But good ride.
It's Toprak. That could be an option.
Well, I think the old hair they need to be right there with the rider in front. It's very difficult to
time as we see Paul Denning looking calm, being able to defend down the Dunlop straight into Jonathan coming off the chicane again with the inside coming in towards the Melbourne.
Great game right now between them all, and they're all having to just see this race. It's been a real battle all the way through. It looks like Scott
Bautista certainly he's not lost that much.
Where you're going to take through there, that seems to be what's costing them the time, but a bit less racetrack, but still fast through the corner. So
12 and down the Dunlop straight once again. Toprak Razgat
against any rider, you're up against the world champion.
Almost like Toprak. You're also risking it all, aren't you? As he looks for the cut.
The traction control settings there. There's a change in 4th position.
Pictures there in the background of the shot. We're quite rightly sticking, covering your lead is Redding. 2/10 in it, but surely Redding will now drift away.
Cuts out about a second.
Yes, it has. That said, Lowe's won the 2 races thus far here at Donington Park.
Yeah, Redding lost 7/10 of a second in the lap. Managing your tyres becomes really critical, as it is. He pulls
exactly for Toprak Razgat Gioglu. Over the moment we said that, yes, there from Mike Razgat Gioglu now, the closest fight.
Honest all the way. We have to say, given that Ducati's form
and further behind, Rinaldi, Redding, and Lowe's covered all 3 of them now, but half a second a lap faster than the 5 or 6.
On this lap, he's still pulled back a 10th of a second so far on Toprak, so he's doing, and it's clearly helped him a lot.
Ray's lost a couple of 12/10. Gabriel Bautista 7/10 further in Risani. Still Baz, Ertl and Gerloff is now
keeping himself in a position riding by him to be able to. On this lap so far, he's put relentless consistency.
Van der Meiter. Still, you'd fancy Bassani 15, but Bassani going for 7th position. Park and World Championship on no less than pitch points up for grabs for on the circuit at present. This is land for Loris Baz's Ikale. We stick with these two. It's not going to be long before there's the position. Very nicely done.
I make the move to the old hairpin. You can be fast, a lot faster. Locatelli, who's about 5 seconds after finishing 9th in the sprint, but his pace and his potential
significantly faster than these 3 riders ahead of gap down to just a 10.
Talents there, the speeds there, battles for the last year. He needs that opportunity, or he needs that good result that's going to give him that confidence. You can see the front of the field, the leader Alvaro Bautista pulled back a quarter of a second the last time around. The gap now under a second between the Ducati. You can unsettle the bike because you're also cracking open the gas at that stage, and it's very easy to have a big for Alvaro Bautista, and you can see the front end of that bike shaking for Jonathan Rea.
They're now going to be thinking about accepting the 2nd place and taking the 4 points over Bautista and saying,
I'm sure he's able to hold on to that 2nd position. He's got a gap of round about a second to Alvaro Bautista. Laps of races, so for Jonathan Rea, he needs to manage his pace now, race to the pit board, try whether
anyone's tyres drop off in the closing stages and give us an opportunity for some overtaking up at the head of the field. And a 4-rider group all covered by just a second. Pisani still with Locatelli, but as soon as
hard here this weekend on the number 95 Yamaha inside the points after that grid penalty, and he's round it there from Mackenzie, comfortably ahead of Coulton Lozano.
Yeah, decent job from Luca Bernardi as well. From the rest, there are some incidents up ahead of him. Lap 18 of 23. This is Alex Lowe's, the number to get that podium in race 1, to rather get the monkey off his back in a season where he's had the 1:28.194 for Alvaro Bautista, 1:28.761 for John.
Big margin to give up, so clearly the Kawasaki's starting to struggle at this stage. Bautista's been able to drop water. He knows that Jonathan Rea's starting to struggle now at this stage. Rea put so much into those early laps. Should have a job he's done as well.
And of course running everything hot, sitting directly behind Toprak as well. That's not going to have helped. It's between the 2 of them. If Bautista gets through, of course, not only will he gain at 4, soon as the Melbourne hairpin on lap 19, Bautista is through. Now he's got to negotiate Goddard's. Having lost that 2nd place, would be further back now than he was before Alvaro Bautista just
struggled the last couple of laps. He's at 29.5 on this lap as well, so lost a lot of ground to Scott Redding.
Because Michael Ruben Rinaldi is now going to be chasing down Jonathan Rea. And what a massive favour Michael Ruben Rinaldi between Rea in 3rd and Rinaldi in 4th. Bautista with an 8-point swing by very important overtake from Bautista. Certainly a big psychological advantage for a weekend that started so.
Knows he's not got the bike underneath him right now to be able to attack back on Alvaro Bautista. This is about holding on to the
places. He's dropped 0.6 of a second down now on the number 19 Ducati. Bautista could probably do what he encountered at Goddard's yesterday, and Bautista really needs to bring home these 20 to narrow the gap down to 43 points. He's made incremental progress over the course of this weekend. He'll be time where we've seen Jonathan Rea lose a position, find some extra determination, find some extra drive.
Able to come away with good results, and over the course of this weekend he really has been able to do that across the P5. Yeah, it's been a really good performance by Redding and BMW. I bumped into Sean Muir just before the top 5 will be another good indication of the progress they're making. Redding only 6.5 seconds behind the Rea making.
Further back, Loris Baz finally through on Iker Lecuona for 9th position. So the Honda man pressure from Philip Ertl and Garrett Gerloff, and Xavi Vierge also doing well to join them in what's now off screen.
He's been able to close down that gap. It had been 3 or 4 seconds at one stage, and now Vierge in a copybook, the 28th. That's whenever Rea was able to come through, presumably, and then Toprak just had to try down and open up that gap. It's 2 seconds now between himself and Alvaro Bautista, and running all calm on the bike, and everything's gone well from this weekend. Quite fun in the paddock earlier on. Whenever he's out in front like this, he's a rider that doesn't panic. He knows exactly what he has to do in the final lap.
Advantage to bring it home, but Toprak will need to just ensure that he doesn't
more. So he's through 1 now, so now 12 left for the last 2.5 miles here at Donington Park that he has to achieve. He's not been able to tick it off until now. He's 1 lap away from doing
to winning 3 races in 1 weekend. That's going to be the next big milestone for him, and it does look as though.
But for Toprak, he's been so strong all the way through this weekend. What's been key for him is about making sure you've got all those fast lap times, but making sure you're working towards your program. Toprak today in race 2 as well. It's been such a complete weekend by him.
Yeah, as indeed. Toprak Razgat for the final time. Alvaro Bautista has got that gap down to just less than a second, but Rea, he joins Bautista and Rea in the hat-trick club. 3 wins out of victories in the World SBK paddock. It's 3 out of 3 at Donington Park for the Spaniard. So what a resurgence from Bautista after a tough start and a crash in race 1 yesterday at Donington Park, and overall a good weekend on balance for him. A couple of 6th places and a 4th. Valuable points on the board.